Richards, weekdays on Newstalk Sauga 960. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike.
It is 8:10. Newstalk Sauga 960. Raw Mike Richards. Just see that as things are opening up. Here's a weird one. I just got a text from a buddy. Of all the places that you could go to as the world opens up, where do you think you'd want to go? I just got a text. Buddy, we got to go to Buffalo. That's the place you thought of? Because they love you in Buffalo. Yeah, they do love me in Buffalo. What about Ethan Del Mastro? Do they love you in Buffalo, Ethan? Are you big in Buffalo? I mean, considering where you grew up, I mean, the pride of Freelton, you'd have to think you've got a fan base in Buffalo somewhere.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's a little bit farther away, different country. I don't know if my fan base is growing out there.
Yeah, well, this is what we can do. Maybe we come down with us, come with the boys. I don't know if JR be happy about it. Probably the timing's not good. But hey, thanks for joining us. Good to see you again. Nice to see you guys having a season. But it's, the one thing that I'm always amazed by is the level of talent in the leagues we have in junior. And this is a hard league. You guys have had a great season up till now. I think there's a lot of things you've done that you're kind of proud of. I know that this season is not over, and therefore, you're happy only when you play well. But it's tight. It's getting tighter. And I know there's, I thought Kingston was coming to town. Obviously, that's going to be rescheduled. When did that news come down for you, by the way? When did you realize that game was postponed?
I think kind of the same time as everyone else. Kind of once it was posted, we kind of realized the same as everyone else.
And, and as I've said to the rest of your teammates, in a year where the schedule is the way that it is, I mean, you're seeing those faces obviously a lot more you would in another time, which I said always gets under your skin a little bit. You kind of don't want to see those faces all the time. Kingston certainly would be one of them. I mean, but that's how junior hockey. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were in a real funk. Kingston was having a tough time just winning games, and now Shane Wright being one of them, but they're a tough out now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy how quick the turnaround can be. One year they could be the team that you're going to their place and you're like, oh, that's easy 2 points. It's one of the weaker teams, and then you come back to 2 years later, and I mean, I guess the COVID year kind of changed things even more. Like you kind of are even more unaware of what was going to come in this year. So coming in, and then we kind of knew though that they're going to be a top team and a stronger team, but it's pretty crazy how they can go from almost last place to almost one of the top teams. It's pretty crazy how that thing can turn around like that.
Well, JR talks about, how sometimes people thought like you're a pretty young team, that maybe this wouldn't be your year, and they would be very wrong about how this year has gone. Now, for you, from your perspective, and again, because you've missed time, so it's hard to sort of maybe, in year to year, but what is the biggest difference in what you're doing now as opposed to last time that you guys were on the ice as a team? Why is there such a difference?
Yeah, we just have a lot of young talent, a lot of young kids that have never played, and they're kind of eager to kind of showcase what they have. A lot of people are, when they're young, they're kind of eager to kind of show off and show people that they're a good player. So I think they're just coming out hard every night with tenacity and just a lot of compete that maybe change things a little bit, and just a lot of new teams as well that are kind of getting used to it. So I think coming in, every team kind of had a little better chance to be that top team. So we kind of slid in there, and I know a lot of teams kind of found us out because of our youth, but it's kind of working to our advantage right now.
Now, the one thing that your team takes pride in, the organization takes pride in, you just talk about some of the younger guys sitting on them a little bit. There is a real accountability within that franchise where the older guys, the senior guys, kind of really mentor the younger ones, to the point where even guys who are in the show, even guys who are in the NHL, come back in the summer and skate with the team. Like there's a real feeling of responsibility. How would you describe it in how you treat younger players on this team?
Yeah, I mean, the younger players coming in, it's kind of your job to kind of show them the ropes and kind of give them a little bit of a mentorship. When I first came in, I had a lot of players like Thomas Harley and Liam Ham being able to kind of help me and show me what to do, and I just want to do the same for the younger players. And I think it's just kind of, we have a really close family. So, you talked about some of the players coming back, and I think that's just because how close we were, and they're excited to see us. And really wanted to see us.
Sounds like there's a lot of closeness until this weirdness that you guys have about ping pong. Like I don't know what goes on with this ping pong. Like Aiden Pruder comes on, he's polite and he's smiling like the boy next door, and then you mention ping pong. He goes, "I'm the best. I'm the best." But where did that come from? All of a sudden, there's what's with the ping pong in this team? It seems a little competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it came out of nowhere. My first year we didn't really play much ping pong, and the table kind of stayed in the gym, and I don't know. All of a sudden, we kind of brought it out this year, and it never goes away. It seems like so. It's always a competition in the room, and it's just kind of entertaining to kind of see who thinks they're the best. And we play a lot of doubles, so it's kind of hard to tell who's the best. We don't really play that many one-on-one. Kind of get everyone involved with the doubles, but it's a fun time.
Apparently, Aiden knows who the best is.
Well, I don't know. He wasn't number one on the rankings this week, but maybe
nice.
Back up there.
Nice. Who's number one?
Max Dodig right now, I think. Yeah. So
now it's interesting because and something else that we talk about. You're around 6'4", but you're not the tallest defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. Yeah.
That hasn't happened a lot in your lifetime.
No, for sure. I mean, usually I'm one of the taller ones on my team. But this year, pretty tall back end. Two players are taller than me, and then the players that are even behind me, they're like 6'3", 6'2". So I mean, they're pretty close behind as well. So it's one thing. Our decor is pretty big.
Well, it's pretty intimidating. Now, do you also think that when it comes to big boy hockey, is the way I put it, like that's usually how I describe what happens in the playoffs. The games get a little tighter, right? It gets a little more physical. Is that something you're kind of looking forward to in terms of the physicality of what you guys do as a team? Are you a more physical team because of this size, do you think, this year?
Yeah, I think definitely on the back end, a bigger group. I think it's definitely a decor that's not to be pushed around with. Like you said, all those guys that are that big, and even our smallest ones, Charlie Callahan, who's still really physical and not afraid of anything. I think we're kind of looking forward to playoffs. It's my first playoffs. We need to play our first year because of COVID, so it's kind of interesting to see what it's about, and I'm just excited for it.
It also seems, the one thing about, and I always think sort of the strength in hockey comes from the back end out, right? So you start with not only all those defensemen you have, but it's your goaltending. So to get through all you guys, you have two good goalies. So what has that been like? Because I know it's people just think that a goalie goes out there, kind of his own universe, stands on his head, you win games, where the reality is there's a lot of communication. There's just that tie, even if you want to call it an invisible one, but it just seems like you guys have good communication no matter who plays net.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that's amazing about having two goaltenders that are very capable of to back you up and be in net. It's really good to know you have a strong backbone that's kind of there. If you mess up, you have a goaltender to kind of bail you out. That's and Joe and Roman are two very, very capable goalies who have had really good years, and it's kind of just positive knowing that they're playing this well going into the playoffs.
Now, will you? Of course, fans are now allowed to see you, thank God, and it seems like things are opening up a little bit, which I know is great for you guys because playing in those big empty arenas. We've all gone. You go to hockey camp or you play summer hockey. You're used to that sound of the echoing. But it's got to be really odd when you're playing like Ottawa or Peterborough, especially in a nut house like when you have to go to Peterborough and there's nobody there. That must have been a really weird feeling.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it's kind of weird when you're going to like rinks and something's happening on the ice that's pretty crazy that fans are usually pretty loud about, and there's just kind of no noise, or maybe if it's kind of in between plays and your coach is talking to the ref and it's kind of the only conversation you can hear in the whole rink. It's kind of a little weird.
Yeah, maybe a conversation that's not meant for everybody to hear.
Exactly.
We're in conversation with Ethan Del Mastro from the Mississauga Steelheads here on Raw. Mike Richards, Newstalk Sauga 960. We're middle of February, and as I talk, each month kind of has its own feel. And February is one of those. I think it's a tougher month because it can really be sort of make or break depending on because it's not pre-Christmas and December has a feel. What it's like once it gets into March and April because it's a little bit of a track meet. Like all of a sudden you're starting to run out of track a little bit. February is the toughest one, I think, mentally, to make sure all the hard work you did previously that you don't lose, because we're on the other side of the schedule. You're getting closer to the end, but there's still got to be a massive concentration. I think February is a tough month.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's kind of the area where some people kind of start to lose focus and a little bit of, they're not as dialed in when it comes to February. And but I think we're kind of getting over that hump, and we're kind of looking more forward to, playoffs and just kind of staying dialed and realizing that these games matter just as much as some of the first ones and some of the last ones in the season. So I think the importance is just to stay dialed and kind of look forward to playoffs and kind of get excited about that.
Now, when you look at this team, and again, we talked about some of the younger players, and very often, it's the guys that you have played with beforehand that you see differences in, because at your age group, like, guys can grow, guys change, their games kind of changed a little bit from the first time. I'm sure you feel your game has probably changed quite a bit since you've been here. If you're looking at your game specifically, what do you think you do now better than you did before? What has been the better part of your game this year?
Yeah, just my kind of my ability to handle the puck, and I think it all kind of came with a little bit of confidence. Just kind of coming in my first year, I was a little more feeling it out and kind of getting used to playing the OHL and just new coaches and everything like that. And coming in this year, I just felt a lot more confident, my ability, and just worked on a lot of things in the off season with being handling the puck and just things like that. And also, I was still young when I first came in, and I still had to grow in my body a lot and get some strength. So coming in my third year, just a lot more confident and a lot more confident handling the puck. So that's a big difference.
Now, I'm sure your height was probably more or less the same, but the body changes, right? Sometimes you become a little bit thicker, and people just think, oh yeah, you got to put on weight. Well, depending on what your body makeup is, just putting on weight maybe not be a great thing. When it comes to you with sort of dryland training and working on the core and that kind of stuff, is that ever a concern, or is that ever something that you talk about, or is it really something that people like to talk about that really doesn't mean that much to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was, a little bit younger, I kind of grew upward first, and then I was a little bit more of a skinny kid. So I was kind of just, let naturally growing into my body and kind of thickening out a little bit, and that happened just over time. And yeah, putting weight on, it wasn't like the biggest concern, but it's just I thought I wanted to put on a little bit of weight coming into the next year. So it's kind of a little bit of a focus, just putting on some muscle, but it wasn't a main thing that I was crazy about.
So you're not worried about, like, you would never go in front of the mirror and flex or something and take a look at yourself and go, yeah, that is all right.
No, that's not me. Maybe some of my other teammates, but not me.
Yeah, which teammates would those be? Let's talk
I
about
don't
the
know.
mirror look.
We got some funnies. There's a lot of guys that love to just stand in front of the mirror and talk about how good they look.
Who's the worst one? They're going to see this. So who are we talking about? Who loves the mirror?
There's a lot of guys. Chad Sharp likes to take his time in front of the mirror, but it's pretty funny. He's a little more comical with it, though. He knows he's kind of joking, so it's funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there's too much of that going on. Well, I'm thrilled for you guys, and of course, at this age, and because it's not that far away, I mean, your family can still see you play, right? Like, it's it's a drive, obviously, but it's not like you're coming from, like, some of these other kids, as you know, come from around the world. So I guess you're kind of hoping playoff time the family gets out to come and see you in Mississauga.
Yeah, for sure. It's a way better feeling when your family is able to see you in person and kind of watch the game. So looking forward to them being able to come out and just kind of watch some of these playoffs games and enjoy it as well.
Well, I'm sure they're all real proud of you. I think we all are. We take great pride in this team here in Mississauga, because it's you do us proud, both on the ice and off the ice, especially. It's a great group of guys. So look, we'll keep in touch. We'll look forward to hopefully seeing some playoffs and getting in the building, which is a nice thing. So thanks so much for this morning. Ethan did a great job.
Thank you.
That is Ethan Del Mastro joining us here on Meet the Steelheads, as they always do. It's something that we look forward to all week, just because you can see the kind of person that they are. And that is really a reflection of that, as I say, each and every week. To go and see them in your own backyard here in Mississauga, if you get the chance to do it, especially, it doesn't have to be the playoffs. That's still a while away. Go out and see these guys, support them. They could use it. It would be nice to have the ability, now that we see some of the changes coming March 1st, even. I wonder what that will look like in terms of people going to a sporting event. Hopefully it will be wide open or fairly open, and we can get some people in that building, because they certainly deserve it. Because young kids like that, I mean, they work exceptionally hard. They basically lost a year, which I couldn't imagine what that feels like at that age. And then to come around, have the season, and hopefully finish in first place and get some playoff games. That should be pretty great.